Nero was completely useless.
Hey! Get Nero out of here! This is a bad move! Nero, go! You're just dead weight! That bastard called me dead weight! I didn't come all this way for nothing!
This is power. The Devil Sword Sparta no longer serves a purpose. I have plans for the both of you. You will exist to give me strength. How fortunate to serve such divine purpose.
All right, enough's enough. Can't let a boy do a man's job.
Hey, wait. I'm not done talking yet.
Okay, you get some rest. By the way, I guess I owe you one.
And welcome back to part 9 of Devil May Cry 5, where today we're back in the present. No more shenanigans from a month ago. We're back on our quest towards getting back to the Qliphorth tree and stopping Urizen from gaining his power and his killing spree. But we get our, first real mission for Dante. I think is the easiest way to put it. Because there's nothing necessarily wrong with mission 10, outside the stylish thing going on. But it feels like this mission is the first one that lets you kind of let loose a little bit and lets you try and experiment with the weaponry you have, especially when you come back on later difficulties with, the extra weapons like Cavalier and Cerberus. But as it stands, I do genuinely like this mission, and I know that's kind of an odd thing to say from me as someone who's critiqued a lot of missions in this game already. But this mission, it has enough of a nice flow to it. There's a bit of exploration. Dante talks a bunch, so you get a feel of where his mind state is at. You get a lot of good encounters, I feel. And the boss fight at the end is, in my opinion, Dante's best boss. And so it makes just a really nice, all-round fun mission. And I know that might be wild for something to say when you consider the final boss of the game. But yeah, I do genuinely think this is Dante's best boss in this mission. It's just such a fun, visceral fight. But I'll get to that more when we actually get to said fight. But an encounter that I actually find kind of interesting, because it's kind of the only encounter off the top of my head that does this, is coming up that is also worth mentioning, because it's on a slope. Which you might sit there and go, well, okay, but what's so significant about that? It kind of subtly affects a lot of how your moves are going to link into one another when it's going up a slope or down a slope. Certain attacks like Drive, you'd be surprised how easily they can miss going down a slope compared to a flat surface. Like uppercutting an enemy and slamming them down, there's a good chance Dante will hit the ground before the enemy does, allowing you to link things together easier. This slope. There's a lot of little things that makes this specific fight actually kind of fun to mess around with. I'm no Dante expert, and I'm never going to pretend I am. I just played just okay. But this particular encounter is always nice to fuck around with, just because of the little things you can get out of it. Like I said, slamming an enemy into the ground, but Dante, because of the slope, touching the ground slightly sooner or slightly later than the enemy, linking into different things. or having more range because it's going downhill on things that you normally wouldn't, or getting more of a startup on a slam like you just saw there with Cavalier, where it was going down a slope but it had slightly more air time to slam down with. On starting with Son of Sparta though, there is a goddamn Fury that shows up here. So as it goes to spawn in, if you've got it ready, get like wild with real impact and you should be able to catch it before it's fully spawned in. To make life a little easier, these guys are the tentacle things, so I forget what they're called other than just Clyforth root tentacles, are around. And something that is entirely just a me thing, I can imagine, and not a legit. I tend to do really well dealing with Furies when I'm not dealing with Furies directly. What I mean is, if there's another enemy in the arena with a Fury, I go and fight that thing, and the Fury will keep on getting in the way and get itself killed. But let's do this. Holding down the attack button when you're in the kick mode will allow you to do what you just saw there, where you'll charge up the ignition on its own. Allowing you to do that special attack on kick mode and the real impacts on punch mode. Throughout most of the game, you're going to see me almost never use kick mode. And it's just a preference thing. I like punching the crap out of shit, alright? I'm a simple man, but this here is probably the only thing even remotely resembling a puzzle in this game. You smash this thing, the building structural shifts, opening up different parts. And so when I first saw this, I thought, oh, it's going to be a break certain, don't break others, and it'll allow you to get rewards. No, just break all of them. You just break all 3 of these, and you're done. You don't even need to break this second one. This second one is just to shift the first platform again, so you can get access to Kalina and 1 if you want it. But it's worth mentioning that a lot of people think that's the earliest you can get Kalina and 1. It's not. You can actually get it in Mission 10. Which I know like blows people's minds anytime I bring it up, because people go, no, you're full of shit, you can only get it in Mission 11. You can't get it in Mission 10, because Mission 10 is that prequel thing where you just have the starting weapon. It's like, yeah, but when you go to fight Urizen, book it left where Lady was. You can take the cleaner and off her. I'm not kidding. If you don't believe me, start a new save, go to Mission 10, do it. Just immediately book it left, you can pick up the cleaner and get it early. So you don't have to go get it in this, where you'd have to jump over there. You jump into that there. Also, it's worth mentioning, if you break only 1 and not the second one, there's a secret mission you can get here by going to the upper platform. But that third thing we broke, because this link's over here and you can get the cleaner end, but the third platform we broke is what opens the path going forward, and that's it. That's like the only puzzle in this game off the top of my head. Which makes you wonder why. So I've mentioned it before, but there is something that seems a bit weird, and you notice it more on the more linear missions like Mission 8, where like all the older Devil May Cry's broke up the gameplay with either exploration or puzzle solving, and this game really doesn't do that. You just run to the next location a lot of the time. I say that there is another like puzzle per se in the next level, but it's more of just a glorified way of delaying your progression than an actual puzzle per se, because it's 4 things that need to be destroyed to open the path, but the path to find the 4 things is pretty linear, so it doesn't feel as like expansive. Like if it was 4 individual paths you have to go down, it'd probably be better, but one thing at a time. We're not in Mission 12 yet. We got the official introduction of the Judicas, or the Hell Judicas. In my opinion, these guys are the real worst enemy in the game, because they will just warp away and bugger off when you're mid-comboing them if you feel like it. And some of their counters, like some of the stuff they will be allowed to counter you from, will get you caught for stuff you feel like you don't deserve. Ultimately, they are still controllable, but just expect to get hit a lot for things that are a bit questionable. Like, that's not a good example of what I mean, but you'll see what I mean as I go through. There are times where I'm wailing into them, and then they just bonk me through it, and I'm like, okay. Or when like, they'll touch the ground and you'll finally get an opportunity to go ham on them. Okay, that time it worked out. And he's... Oh no, he hasn't. Okay, the game... Of course the game is not going to try and show me up. But usually the Judicas like spawn away the moment they touch the ground. Like they teleport. Even if you're mid-comboing them, you'll just suddenly start phasing through them and they'll warp away. And they do it a lot, making them kind of frustrating. Especially on the harder difficulties where, you know, they're bulkier anyway. Like, the Furies are the real test, but as I've said before, you can learn them, and when you learn them, they do get kind of fun to fight. I'm just not the best at dealing with them, and so my enjoyment of them is slightly limited for now until I get better at it. But I don't think they're a straight up bad enemy like some people think they are. I think if you want to look at what a bad enemy is, you need to fire up DMC3. As much as I love Devil May Cry 3, and it's one of my favorite, well, it is my favorite game of all time, there's no denying that of the absolute smorgasbord level of enemies they had, not all of them were keepers. Not all of them were great. Those flying angel dudes, they weren't nice. But I say that, it could be worse. It could be DMC2, where like almost none of them are memorable, except the ones that just beat the crap out of you for no good reason. But then did no damage because it's DMC2. Which surprised me when I went to Dante Must Die difficulty on that game. Or Must Die, as they called it, because it's only half the game, well, 2/3 to be more accurate, is Dante. And so they just decided to call it Must Die instead of Dante Must Die. I was kind of surprised going into it how little the difficulty increase was going up to it. Outside of obviously like the secret encounters where you can do secret mission up to 60 and do the final boss twice and whatnot. Like, because that was a fun challenge and I didn't mind doing that. But everything else I was like, oh, it's only slightly harder than hard. Oh, okay. But no, there is technically a time limit on that mission, a soft one. Not that mission, that encounter even. If you take too long, part of the building will break and it won't allow you to get here. But I have never failed the time limit on it. So I've always just assumed it's extremely generous. But we're already approaching the boss. I like this mission, but it is very short. They were already at the end of it and we didn't really avoid any encounters. And it's over in 12 minutes. We're at the boss already. But to make up for it, this boss is great. And I think the other reason why this mission is kind of short is because there's a trophy for beating it without having a single weapon equipped to Dante, which you can't do until you get a regular full custom anyway, because he has to be equipped with something until you unlock it. But it's a nice challenge to royal guard the whole mission, or do what most people did and just wait until you get Super Dante.
Is it Halloween already? That costume looks a little big. I thought you had better taste than that. How about I take it in a little?
Cavalier Angelo, the horse rider of Guryan that we encountered earlier, is now back with a vengeance, now fighting Dante. Presumably its intended target and not, you know, V that just kind of showed up and wrecked its horse. The reason why I love this fight is because it's a giant parry game between both of you. You're constantly going to be bouncing your attacks off of each other to try and get one up over the other opponent in various different ways, like so. And Dante will even comment on it the first couple of times you do it to help give you the nod that this is what they want you to do. He also has a guard that you can shatter with its shield, and if you completely shatter its guard, it will lose access to its electric powers and will have to retreat to get them back, allowing you to either pressure in to try and get a lot of physical attacks. Just be wary that if you can't get the stun off, you're suffering that. But if you can get the stun, you get a free damage because the thing's stunned for a little while. Or you can do what I've been doing, and you saw me, I whipped up the double cleaner and was attacking it. If you want the double cleaner and, you need to pick up the first one from either mission 10 off Lady or mission 11 from the building. Otherwise you won't have access to it. Hey! But something that's also fun, even though it's supposed to be a giant parry match, it's also fun. Ow. It's also fun to just be able to just narrowly dodge everything. And I'm going to, every now and then, do a little bit of royal guarding in this fight. But I, just like always, as I said, I am not good at it. It's just if there's ever been a fight that's kind of openly encouraging you to use royal guard, this is kind of the one. Because it's a parry fest anyway. Also, if you're wondering how I'm getting towards him super quickly, when you max out Trickster, Dante gets Trick Down. If you Trick Down is when you tap forward and back super quickly, then tap dodge. Dante will warp to the ground immediately, and it's extremely good for more advanced combos, and it's nice to see it again. But if you do it in tandem of trick and trick forward or trick up, whatever it is, where you lock on, hold forward and trick, so you walk towards the enemy, if you do it in tandem, like alternate between the two, you will gain on the enemy lightning fast. But this boss is already dead.
Whoa, looks like I took in a little too much. You okay?
I've been better. Dante, that demon is...
Don't even think about it. Just rest.
Dante!
Take care of Trish for me.
Dante, wait!
Dante's left.
Yes. And I don't think he can win.
What was that demon, V? Where did it come from? Urizen is not a demon. I know that for a fact because I'm from the underworld. My God. What are you then?
It doesn't matter. I'm a shadow of my former self who lost everything. I will tell you the story of my birth.
I wonder how long canonically it took Dante to get through this mission for V to be able to limp his way to catch up that quickly. Anyway, next time on Devil May Cry 5, we're going into Mission 12, one of the most significant missions in the game, for better and worse. But until then, you guys take care now. Peace.